Hi, I'm Mary Tabar, and I want to show you how to cut these stratas into squares and triangles. This is a strata, the strata being of any size width of strips, but it's a set of strips. And we have sewn these pairs together, pairs together, pairs together, and then sew the pairs together. So let's look at this. It is ironed all to the dark of the fabric, and it all seems very straight. I ironed it gently. It's called pressing, actually. So let's square this up. We have to square up the edge. And let's do that right now. We'll be using 2 rulers to square up. So now I'm making sure, for example, that my 3 on this ruler is going straight across. And that's right up against my longer ruler. And now I'm going to be cutting them very evenly because it's straight. This, again, the rotary cutter, you put your finger on the ridges, you open it. Let me just do something else here. I have little wrist problems. I'm putting my finger off the ruler, and now I'm going to cut it. I like to have my wrist down. So here we're straightening that up, closing it. Ah, nice. What I should have done probably first is actually measure my strata. What is the size of my strata? And it is supposed to be 12 and a half. And guess what? It is 12 and a half. I'm very happy about that. So now I can just use these. I'm cutting these into 12 and a half inch squares. Whatever the width of your strata is the size of square that you want to cut. So by chance, these 6 2.5 inch sewn together end up being 12 and a half. And I have just taken a normal 1/4 inch while I'm sewing. All right, so I'm going to cut this. And again, if I wanted to on this ruler, I could put some weights on it. And I'm going to hold it very sturdy. I'm going to open up my ruler and I'm going to cut. I'm only going to get 3 squares out of this strata because the strata should be the width of my fabric, which is about 42 inches. Now, I don't necessarily have to move this one. My ruler can, oh, no, doesn't make it. I am gonna move it because I do have to move it anyway for that 3rd square. So here I go, and I see that it's still quite straight, my edges here. So let's put that down 12 and a half. And if it's not, you can always like move this fabric a little, right? You can always, a lot of people are surprised when I tell them that I do that because maybe it's something you hadn't thought about. So now this is nice and even. Be sure it's even straight across here. Can you live with that? Now, perhaps for the 3rd square, I might have to square it up again. So let's just see. I prefer not to move it, but it's going to be that way. And I can kind of see that it's gotten a little wonky here. I'm going to square that back up by using 2 rulers. And we have plenty of left over here, so not to worry about these stratas or these squares that we're cutting. Okay, so that. I want to be sure I do my cutting consistently here. So that's nice and even. I'm going to use my 12 and a half inch square ruler. This is one of my favorite rulers, but I also do like 14 inch. And then I have a bigger square for the like a 22 inch square to square up the quilt when it's done. Okay, as I remember, My width right here is 12 and a half, so the square is going to be 12 and a half. Now, we're going to cut them all 12 and a half, my squares. You know, it's probably better to have moved those a little bit out of the way. This is my scraps. You know, there's a lot that you can do with that. I would definitely save that. You might want to put a little pillow with the quilt. Now, we can only cut 2 of these at a time because we have 3. I want to cut 2 at a time. I want to keep the dark on top, the dark strip on the top, and I'm going to mirror image them. Did you notice that? This is the top, the right side of one of the squares. This is the right side of the other square, and I'm going to put them on top of each other. I found that this was a really fast and easy method of cutting my squares. Now that I've got this third one, I'm going to have to wait until I have some other strata sewn and pair that up with this one. So what we're actually making here are 4 different squares. When you see that you have 4 different squares, you're going to be amazed. Now this ruler is 18 inches by 3. It's a nice, light, handy ruler. I'm going from corner to corner, and I'm going to cut that diagonal. This one I'm going to, let's put some weights on there and be sure that everything looks really good. Measure twice, cut once. This is the diagonal of the fabric, so this diagonal of the triangles is a little bit sensitive, so you're not going to play around with them. Excuse me for that. So what squares do I have here? Oh my goodness, I have so many squares. Let's put these back together as if they were still the square. And this is what we have. Can you see those? Yeah, you can see that very nicely. I call them 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, it is unbelievable what you can do with these 4 very different triangles. As you see, this is the darks on top. The light is on the top down here, light is on the top down here, and dark is on the top here. So if I put a 1 and a 4 together, this is one of my favorite layouts, I will get a square that looks like that. If I put my 3 and 4 together, let's have it laid out the same looking way here. Okay. Now I have dark on the bottom. There are several other layouts you can do. You can have these switched. So now your triangles are not matching. And you can just keep going on and on. You can actually move this one over. You can make a pyramid. You can do a pyramid the other way. You can do it so that the stripes of that pyramid are going horizontally. You can have them going horizontally and they match up. This one would have to be switched that way, horizontally, and they match up. So there are endless possibilities with these triangles. Thank you and happy stitching.